I am super excited about continuous glucose monitors, or CGMs for short. These little patch monitors were originally used for people with brittle diabetes, and they're still an amazing tool for that purpose, but now they're available without a prescription. They have been for a couple of years, and I think everyone should try them out. A couple of disclaimers before I get into my talk. First of all, I don't have any financial relationship whatsoever with anybody who sells CGMs. I just think they're amazing, especially for bariatric patients, but also for anyone who's interested in understanding their metabolic health. Disclaimer number two, if you are a person who has the diagnosis of diabetes, you need to be aware that the CGMs aren't always absolutely accurate with their blood sugar level, and you need to follow the advice of your endocrine doctor about how the CGMs are used in your care. I still think the trending of blood sugar that you get from the CGMs is amazingly useful, but the absolute level at any given moment, like I said, has to be taken with a grain of salt. Now, as I'm posting this, there are two non-prescription CGM options available. One is Stelo by Dexcom, that's S-T-E-L-O by Dexcom, or Lingo by Abbott, and it's the same technology as the Libre. Both these are available for purchase on the web, and in both cases the cost works out to about $50 for one of these patches, and the patch lasts for about 2 weeks, connects with an app on your phone, and gives you minute by minute blood sugar readings. I'm really enthused about the trends on these blood sugar levels. You can pick them up at either hellolingo.com. By the way, the Abbott Lingo option is only available for the iPhone at this time, or stelo.com, and that would be for iPhone or Android. My excitement with the CGMs comes from the belief that everyone can do better with their health if they understand in real time what their personal metabolism is doing continuously and how the things that we take in affect that metabolism. To see the various food impacts on a personal level lets us make informed choices about the foods that we take. And I've seen this have an amazingly positive impact for many of my patients who are trying to troubleshoot blood sugar fluctuations or troubleshoot the snackies. I'm going to come back to that. And I think that it's been very informative in my own life. As we age, we become a bit less resilient with our metabolism, a bit more insulin resistance, and we need to be a bit more careful about what we take in for our own health and longevity. Now, just to emphasize, I think that all bariatric surgical patients, whether they be sleeve or gastric bypass or duodenal switch, I think that all bariatric surgical patients should use a CGM from time to time. They last for 2 weeks, and maybe you put one on every 2 or 3 months, just as a checkup on your food intake plan, and to make sure that you're not having any unusual swings or, kind of food surprises or sliding into bad habits. I think it helps reinforce good habits. And what we hope to see with the CGM and the monitoring, the data that shows up on the app, is that we hope to see a steady blood sugar, maybe with some mild rises and some mild falls, some gentle rolling hills. But what we don't want to see is blood sugar spikes, because the spikes, especially in a bariatric surgical patient, will pretty soon lead to crashes. And the crashes may even be low blood sugar down into the 40s or the 50s, kind of seizure threshold type of things. And even if you don't feel it, even if you don't have a seizure, even if it's only going down into the 60s, these spike and crash cycles are stressful for your metabolism, and they create unusual hunger. So spikes and crashes are harmful in a couple of ways, and that's what we want to avoid. I should add that if a person goes through repeated cycles of spike and crash over time, they're looking at progressive increases in their insulin resistance, so they're setting themselves up for worse spike and crash episodes over time. So the good news on this, by the way, is that if a person uses a CGM regularly, and if they smooth out their blood sugar levels, then they can have better, that is to say, less insulin resistance and more resilience to normal food intake, so they have less chance of blood sugar spike and crash, and less chance of this condition that we call post-prandial hypoglycemia. Post-prandial hypoglycemia. I posted a video a couple of years ago about how bariatric surgical patients can use healthy foods, mostly proteins and natural fats, to minimize the chances of postprandial hypoglycemia. But I have to say that my patients who in the last couple of years have been using CGMs, they have a completely different level, a much better understanding about how different foods affect their blood sugar levels, and a much better ability to get the situation under control. they get to have a chance to see what foods affect them and their metabolism and their anatomy on a personal level, taking it beyond the general principles that I can teach in person or teach in a video. I mentioned snackies a minute ago. Many patients come back to the clinic years after their surgery and they're having the snackies. And the snackies are a situation where kind of at different parts of the day they start just feeling cravings for food. Food becomes distracting. It becomes overwhelming from a thought perspective. And hangry, seriously hungry type situation. Most often these snackies are caused by blood sugar drops, which typically come from blood sugar spikes, which typically come from some food that was eaten, or maybe it was a drink, maybe it was some juice or something like that. Sometimes artificial sweeteners can do it. They've taken in something to cause the spike, which leads to the crash, which leads to the snackies, and a CGM can help troubleshoot the snackies and help people understand what's going on, how is this happening. And I think that CGMs, going beyond bariatric surgical patients, I think CGMs can be a great tool for anybody who wants to understand their metabolism, even if they haven't suffered a diagnosed medical condition. And I've personally learned that breads have a huge spiking impact on my blood sugar. It saddens me because I love breads, but I feel better equipped to maintain my health and metabolism so that I can live longer and live healthier, hopefully more functional. Many people find that fruits have a stressful impact on the metabolism, or rice, or various artificial sweeteners. Refined sugars are likely to be disruptive for everyone, but there can be important surprises for people as well. And not everyone is going to use this new knowledge to eat perfectly, but at least we can make our choices from a place of informed knowledge. So keep your eyes peeled for even more real-time monitoring options in the next few years. We understand so little about our metabolism, and this amazing option to know the glucose minute by minute is kind of just the tip of the iceberg. I'd love to also know real-time insulin and ghrelin level and GLP and leptin and what signals are going up the spinal cord from the GI tract to the muscle. And I don't even know what else because there's so much more to learn. So keep your eyes open. I think there's going to be more and more monitoring that can be done, more knowledge, better ability to make good choices. Just to give you a conceptual idea about the complexity of this situation, check out this conceptual diagram of multiple interlocking systems that affect food intake, energy expenditure, and that are impacted by food intake. And remember, food isn't just calories, but food is hormonally active. What you eat right now isn't just going to be burned by your body, but it's going to affect how your body prepares for and receives the next food impact. So in summary, I hope and expect that our knowledge of metabolism is going to continue to grow and deepen. In the meantime, CGMs are an excellent start, and they're so much better than flying blind. Good luck on your journey.